Palworld breeding might sound complicated, but it's way easier than you're thinking. I'm Vadd, and I'll walk you through everything you need to know in simple, understandable steps. First off, there are two main reasons you'll want to engage with Palworld's breeding mechanics. One, you'll be able to access rare, powerful, and useful pals. And two, you can inherit passive skills to stack powerful traits. I think most casual players are going to find that Palworld's breeding is less essential. You can currently progress through the core game with wild-caught tames. Understand, if you are seeking to really optimize your pals, the breeding tools are the path to success. The first step in Palworld breeding is to make cake. This can be done at your cooking pot. The cooking pot is unlocked at level 17 in your tech tree. Once you've built your cooking pot, you can go into the recipes. And there you can see cake, which currently requires 5 flour, 8 red berries, 7 milk, 8 eggs, and 2 honey. Yikes. I'm going to leave on screen right now a quick graphic here that shows all the ingredients and if you need to grow them or build them on the ranch. And I'm going to show you how to get all of them next. So I'm going to leave this up for just a moment longer in case you want to take a screenshot. It's going down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The ranch is a core building we're going to utilize to farm the cakes that we need. In the tech tree, you can see the ranch is unlocked at level 5, so pretty early on. And this one building can hold 4 pals, so it can do a lot of the heavy lifting. The first ingredient we're going to try and get our hands on are the red berries. We can, of course, place down a berry plantation, and this is going to let us get red berries. A second option to get red berries is actually the ranch. There's a pal you've probably walked by a few times that has a big berry bush on its back. The Capricorn will passively drop berries in the ranch. You can see in the Palpedia, it's number 35. And when you go into the habitat tree, you're going to see a map of where they spawn. You started right in the beginner zone of the windswept hills. You've probably passed by them a few times. They are out there and they are not hard to find. This is a great pal to throw on your ranch to passively generate the red berries we need. Next on our list, we're going to get the egg, which will come from the chickpea. This is a great early game find to throw into our ranch so we can farm the eggs we need for our cake. It's number 3 in the pal deck, and you can see the egg lane is in the partner skill. This is important because at level 14, you unlock the condenser, which will allow you to level up the egg lane skill and get more eggs. Each time you condense a pal, it's going to increase the cost, as well as level up that partner skill. This was bugged at launch, and currently condensing does increase drop quantity, and yes, as a passive skill, work speed does shorten the time between drops. Something you can be doing for all of your ranch pals that are farming items with their partner skills. You can condense them to increase drop quantity, and you can be focused on passive skills that have a work speed bonus to shorten the time between drops and further improve your farming. Next on our cake baking list, we're going to get the milk. This is going to come from a mozzarella. This is a great early tame to find. If you go into your Palpedia, it's number 29. You go into the habitat menu, you can see it's just beyond the wind-swept hills, right in the starting zone. You're going to be able to get the mozzarella for the milk. Remember, the milk maker is a partner skill, which means you can condense mozzarellas as condensing increases the drop quantity, and you could be looking for passive skills that increase work speed to shorten the time between drops. I also think it's worth mentioning at this point that you definitely want to make sure you have down the monitoring stand. Some of the tames you're putting into the ranch may have alternate skills. They may go off and get involved in a fight or start harvesting something, and you want to be able to manage that so they are working on what you think they are and what you want them to be working on. Not to get too tricky here, you also want to know about the feed box. Inside the feed box, your pals eat the food from left to right. Inside the feed box, your pals eat the food from left to right. This means the milk we're going to be using to make our cake, if this was in the leftmost slot, they would be drinking the milk and we would be losing that resource. So make sure that the cake baking items are to the right in your feed box, and the food items you want them eating are to the furthest left in your feed box, because your pals eat from left to right in your feed box. Bee Guard is going to harvest the honey in our ranch. Bee Guard is number 50 in the pal deck. You're going to be the toughest one to actually go out and catch. They're a little bit further away. The bee guard for the honey is further away than the other tames from the starting zone of Windswept Hills. In addition, the bee guards explode when they get close to you. So there's 3 good tips to catching them. You can go at night to try and catch them when they're asleep. So you get a few hits in and a few Pal Spheres thrown. You can cancel out their exploding animation by using lightning attacks by riding a tame that has lightning-based damage, that electric damage. You can also throw a Pal Sphere right before they're going to explode to start the catch animation and reset the explosion. If you're unsuccessful catching them or accidentally kill them, they are going to drop honey as well. So if you're just trying to get a couple of cakes, you could just wipe out a couple batches of the bee guards and get the honey from the drops. Again, a ranch can hold 4 tames, so you can put in there your chickpea for your eggs, your mazzarina for your milk, your capriti for the berries, and your bee guard for the honey. So all 4 of them will fit into one ranch if you so choose. Again, you can improve their drop rates by condensing them, and you can improve their drop rates by making sure their passives are work speed related.
If this guide saved you time or helped you enjoy the game more, consider joining as a channel member or Patreon supporter. You'll get early access, bonus content, and you'll be directly supporting more guides like this. Huge thanks to everyone who's already joined.
In order to get the flour for our cake, we need to plant wheat. This means we're going to need a pal that can plant, gather, transport, and water. This is not likely going to be one singular pal, just depends on what you've caught up to this point. Once we have planted the wheat, at level 15 you unlock the mill. You'll need to take the wheat to the mill. The mill is also going to require a pal who can use watering to work the mill wheel. Once the wheat is in the mill and the watering pal is finished, we're going to have our flour. Very exciting. And then bring our flour as the final ingredient to make our cake. This will of course require a pal with kindling to bake the cake. Finally, there is one more established way to get your hands on the ingredients to make your cake. Right in the starting zone, there's a fast travel point at the small settlement. We're going to head there. From the small settlement fast travel point, we can make our way down the hill to the merchant. The merchant is going to sell all the ingredients. So the berries, the milk, the eggs, the wheat, as well as berry seeds, wheat seeds, all the things we need to make the cake. You'll still need to mill the wheat and cook the cake. This is an alternative option if you decide to buy ingredients instead of farm ingredients. Don't forget that you can capture the wild merchants. It can be a little tricky, but it's definitely something you can do. The benefit of doing this is then you can go back at your base into your pal box and place down the merchant with all the rest of your pals. This allows you to walk right up to them in your base and buy the ingredients here instead of fast traveling to the small settlement. If your base is really tight on space, at level 15, you can unlock the viewing cage. This structure lets you place your pals in them for your viewing pleasure. Understand, you'll still need to walk up and talk to them, and they're isolated inside the viewing cage. There are some workarounds to make your way into the cage that I'm never really sure if they're going to get patched or not. I've heard one workaround is to fill the cage with the largest pals you can, and it can force some of the smaller pals to the edges. I often try and just build a simple structure so I can place a staircase under the viewing cage. This lets me walk up under the cage and get access to the merchants. Another option is to place a sneaky wall and then start to climb the wall. And you can make your way directly into the cage like this. However, there's 3 big problems. You're now stuck inside the cage. Way to get out is to respawn from the menus. And 2, we're just moving further into glitch territory, and this just seems like a lot of work. I'd rather just throw down the wandering merchant in my base, make my trade, and throw him back in my pal box. I don't feel like this viewing platform is worth it, and it's way too big. I'm hoping in a future update we get a more manageable viewing place that's a little smaller in size. I also think, especially in the early to mid game, it's a lot of work to set up an efficient gold farming base, and it's a little easier just to set up a cake farming base for your breeding. At the later levels, there's more efficient pals you can get your hands on and more efficient technologies that make gold farming and buying ingredients pretty fast. That being said, right at the start, you can get all of this set up from the beginning zones, and you can get right into the breeding, which is very nice. Congratulations, pat yourself in the back. You now officially know how to set up a cake making base. This is a huge accomplishment, as this is the one core key necessary ingredient for all your Palworld breeding. This will carry you through the entirety of your beginning, middle, and end game content. Maybe in a future update something will change with breeding, but as of the time of recording, you must have cake. At level 19 in the technology tree, we can officially build the breeding farm, and at level 7 we can unlock the egg incubator. Breeding farm is a very large structure. Once you have your egg incubator and your breeding farm built, this is going to be the box right here outside where our cake is going to go. Currently made 3 cakes. We go into our recipes and just see how we're doing. You can make a total of 103 cakes. I'm going to click allow transport by pals. I'm going to check the allow transport by pals box. This means that as these cakes are cooked, they're going to automatically deliver themselves into the box directly outside the breeding farm. You can see in our inventory, the cake has a timer before it spoils. When that cake spoils, it's gone forever. In the breeding farm, you can see the timer does not run down, keeping the cakes safe forever. No one eats these unless they are here in the breeding farm. There are 2 main ways to get your pals to breed. Number 1, you can run right up to them, pick them up, and you can throw them into the farm. You can see on the left, fixed assignment to breeding farm. I much prefer to use the monitoring station. I think this makes things a lot easier. Go down to the breeding farm, and we can assign any 2 pals we like. You can see we have a Caprity here in the top right corner. There is a blue symbol. And over here, the second Caprity on the left, there is a pink symbol. Okay. You'll need 1 male and 1 female to breed. You can see the blue symbol there on the right with the circle and the arrow to the top right corner. That is the male symbol. And then you will need the female, which is the circle with the kind of plus symbol underneath in the corner as well. There are an absolute load of great breeding calculators. If you just search on your internet browser, just say, hey, breeding calculator, Palworld, you're going to see a bunch of calculators. I'm going to help you out making 1 pal in a small chain here so you can kind of see how that develops. Specifically, I'm going to help you get an Anubis. Anubis has 3 really strong work suitability skills. You can see they have transporting at level 2, mining at level 3, and handiwork at level 4. This is a great pal to pick up early. You can actually see Anubis is a level 47 world boss. We can go out and challenge. Just a field boss hanging out, but that's a little beyond our levels at the start. My solution is simple. Number 26 in the Palpedia is the Dire Howl, and I'm going to put a Dire Howl in the breeding farm alongside number 38 in the Palpedia, the Nightwing. These 2 together, once they breed, are going to give me number 60 in the Palpedia, a Rayhound. I don't have one of these yet. We'll need to move both of these pals from our box into our pals at the base. I have a Dire Howl in my base right now, who is a male. I'll make sure I grab a female Nightwing, place them in my base. Go over to assignment board, and I'll make sure I assign the Dire Howl and the Nightwing. They're going to hang out here a while. They're now the 2 best of friends. Wonderful. Walk into the breeding pen and see love is blossoming between the 2 pals. Isn't that beautiful? If we go over to the Dire Howl, view details, the Dire Howl has a skill called Work Slave, giving a plus 30% work speed and minus 30% attack. This work speed trait would be nice to have on this Anubis. The Nightwing in here has the Philanthropist buff. This means breed speed is increased by 100%. That means the time it's taking this egg to hatch is 100% faster. It's not bad either. There are 4 possible slots for passive skills, and there's a chance to pass on passive skills from the 2 parents that are breeding. In addition, there's also a chance that a completely new passive skill will be passed on. The reason I recommend looking up a breeding calculator, there are multiple combinations to make the tame we're trying to get. Look, we have our first egg. The Dire Howl's work is done. Let's hatch this egg and get our Rayhound. We now have a Rayhound. Look at the skills it got. Philanthropist, Work Slave, and the Power of Gaia. 2 of those skills were on the parents, Philanthropist and Work Slave. Now we have the Nightwing and the Rayhound in the breeding farm. I happen to know, through using online breeding calculators, that this will result in the Anubis I want. This is a great early tame you can get at level 19, as that is the earliest you can unlock the breeding farm. This is going to be an Anubis egg. Very nice. There are tens of combinations, if not hundreds of combinations, to get most any pal. Anubis is a great pal to get early on. because of its high work suitability, and it's a pretty good fighter as well. I've been hatching Anubis eggs, and I've got an Anubis here that has 2 pretty good passive skills. One skill is Artisan, which is going to give it a 50% work speed bonus. So it's going to complete the jobs it's working on with a 50% bonus speed. It's going to be faster. And the second skill is Abnormal. It has a decrease in incoming neutral damage by 10%. These aren't bad skills, but this Anubis is going to work in my base. I don't really need this Abnormal skill. I could try and breed another Anubis that doesn't have this skill, but that's kind of a hassle. You're not going to have access to this right away, but at level 36, you can get the PAL surgery table. This is a great structure to know about and to look forward to unlocking. Let's take a look at what we can do here at the surgery table. First, we're going to select our level 16 Anubis, and we have 2 strong things we can do here. We can change their gender. Remember, we need a male or female with a male or female. Okay, so if we were trying to breed something that had a good passive skill we wanted to pass on, it was the wrong gender for the other PAL we wanted to breed together, this will be one way to switch that. You'll need a PAL reverser item. We'll talk about that later. Let's use the transfer passive tool. Select our Anubis and look through the passive skill list. This is going to have a default number of items here and then some other ones you can unlock later on. The Sirius is a great trait. It gives a plus 20% work speed bonus. Let's select that. We can either get rid of Artisan, we can get rid of Abnormal, or we can add it in a new slot. Let's get rid of Abnormal. This is going to require us to have 10,000 of the Palworld monies. It's going to get rid of the Abnormal passive and put the Sirius passive. Now you can see this Anubis has the Artisan passive skill, giving it a 50% work speed bonus, and the Sirius passive skill, giving it a 20% work speed bonus. This is going to be really nice to have this Anubis working in my base. It's going to be very efficient. There's lots of good passive skills. For example, Nocturnal. Maybe you want to make it so your Anubis works at night. That could be fun too. To unlock more skills for the surgery table menu, currently in game there are 2 main ways to do that. First way is at the arena. I'm not going to spoil where this is. I just want you to know that it exists. There's an arena merchant here specific to the arena, and he will exchange your battle tickets from arena fights for various goods. This is one of the places you can get the PAL reverser to change the gender and new implants for the surgery table. Once you've bought these implants once, you'll have them unlocked for unlimited uses. The arena doors are right behind the arena merchant. Again, I'm not going to spoil where this is. I think it's fun to find. In the starting zone at the small settlement, there's another shop here at the small settlement that sells more implants for our surgery table. This is the bounty officer. These guys are actually in several of the small towns around. This is just the easiest one to get to. Here you can exchange successful bounty tokens for more implants. You can see here I've already purchased one, and I now have it unlocked for more use. In addition, he'll also sell the PAL reverser for the changing of the genders. His tokens are actually really easy to get. I'm going to show you where one is right now. We're here at the small settlement, and there are these little purple faces. These little purple faces are actually mini field bosses. Defeating these mini field bosses are going to give you access to those bounty tokens, which you can spend at a shop. You can see here once we defeated them, we got the bounty tokens. They'll respawn tomorrow or a little later on. We can continue to farm these bounty tokens to unlock the implants and the other goodies in his shop. I think it's time to give our pals a real home. In this next video on screen right here, I'll show you how to build a base that actually works. It's efficient, safe, and just way less frustrating. Tap on screen right now into this next video, and I'll see you there. If you like this video, click like. YouTube channel members and the Patreon to support what I do. I'm Vadd, and I will see you in the next video. It's right here on screen.